Why, hi there. It's just me, Ron Juckett, and it's time once again for the Digital Dice Podcast, episode 125 in our never-ending journey to go through sports sims and replays together. Dave is having a real busy stretch right now. Dave and I expect to be together next week. We're going to talk about the price you pay for games. I'm kind of excited about that, but today, while Dave is recovering from calling playoff hockey, we are going to talk about, do you play to win the game? We talk a lot about sims, about how accurate they are and this, that, and the other thing. But, you know, if you're my age or older, and I'm assuming that most of you are, that, you know, when we would read in the preseason magazines, whether it was Street and Smith Baseball or Sporting News Football or Hockey News Hockey or whatever, all the ads for Strat-O-Matic and Appo talked about, you are the manager. You are the ones that make the decisions, blah, blah, blah. And that was the exciting thing of the game. You didn't like something that you saw, you know, if your team was on local television or if you lived out of town and it happened to be on NBC or CBS or whatever it was, on one of the few times that they actually would show your team's game, and you were absolutely infuriated because, let's say, John McNamara left Bill Buckner in to play first base in the 10th inning of Game 6 of the World Series. Well, you are the manager. You can go back and change that. So, were you upset that Don Zimmer never let Bill Lee start a game after the middle of August of 1978? Not that it ever happened or anything like that. Well, you are the manager. Did you not want Kevin McHale to get benched? You know, he should have been a starter, not the sixth man. Or did you want to start Scott Brunner over Phil Simms in any season for the Giants before 1987? You're the coach. Did you want Bobby Orr to be healthy and not be injured? Again, you're the coach. And I think for a lot of us, that was kind of our introduction to these games is, look, you can change history. You can buy all the cards, or maybe with micro league stuff, the database files and all that, for whatever season that just finished. Hey, you a Pittsburgh Pirates fan in 1984? I'm sorry. You can go and make a trade and put someone else on the roster. Or you want to put Reggie Jackson on a team, let's say the 77 Red Sox, or, you know, whatever it was that would make it fun for you. That's what these games were designed to do. And so, yes, you are the manager. So today, we'll get through what we're playing when Dave and I get back together next week. You know, I mean, do you play to win the game? So when you pull out a game and you start a new project, are you looking to recreate history, or are you looking to change history? Because really, for me, it's all about changing history. You know, I mean, obviously there's a nostalgia factor for it, and obviously you don't want somebody who maybe hit, you know, you don't want like a Dwayne Kuiper hitting 15 home runs a year. That's not what you want. I understand that. But if you're running the Cleveland Indians in the late 70s, you know, can you do better? A good example of this is our buddy Al, Red Sox fan, and he's doing a 1962 New York Mets replay in Action PC. So the rosters are current by the day, but Al will jiggle the lineup to make sure that people bat when they're supposed to, and this, that, and the other thing. And his process for that is to try to get them to win. Can he get above 40 wins with the team? He's not going to make them a World Series champion by any stretch of the imagination, but if he continues it going on, there's a decent chance with Al's managerial skills that he is going to not lose 100 games. I think he can get to 62 and 100 with that team. It doesn't matter if it's accurate or not. It's a matter about having fun, and for Al, trying to get something out of nothing, and that is the ultimate chicken salad out of chicken fertilizer project for that. Or, you know, there was one replay I read recently on the Delphi forums when someone said, what would you do if you only had a week left of the 1964 season and carted the Philadelphia Phillies from there. Could they get over the hump and win the National League? I mean, a lot of the reasons why we play these games is to change history. And certainly that would be the ultimate project if you don't blow a 7-game lead with 10 games to go. The one of those New York Mets teams, 2007, the last year that Shea was open, same thing. They pretty much had the same collapse and completely missed the playoffs. Can you change history? Can you get that one more win? 1978 Red Sox, they only lost by a game because it went to a playoff. Can you win that 100th game? Can you change history just once? What would you do different than Don Zimmer? What would you do different in the mid-'80s against the Lakers if you're Casey Jones? Or if you're a Laker fan, what could you coax out of Worthy, Kareem, and Magic to get that championship in '84 for the Lakers and then win the first back-to-back championships in '84 and '85? I mean, the possibilities are endless. You watch a game, and we've all done this before. We roll our eyes at it. A lot of you who watch my replays, you're going, what did you do that for? Well, it's because I thought that was the best move at the time. And so certainly second-guessing managers goes back to time infinitum. Going back to, why didn't you throw this punch in a boxing match? Or why didn't you use the whip sooner on the horse in an early horse racing game? Or whatever decision it is that you didn't agree with. And so you get the chance to do that. Do you want to push with Private Smiles to try to take away the 73 Belmont from Secretariat? You trying to get Sham one of those Triple Crown races? Do you want to say, okay, how about Craig Norman in the majors in '86 playing ASG golf or Action PC golf? Can you get Norman more than just the British Open that year? Can you stop the Nicklaus run on the back nine on Sunday at Augusta? I mean, the possibilities, as I said, they are absolutely endless. Whatever your favorite team is, whatever pennant you didn't think you got, can you take someone like the 74-75 Washington Capitals and get them more than 9 wins? I mean, I think that's a lot of the fun of playing these games is yes, there's a nostalgia factor, and yes, trying to recreate history, but I think trying to change history for me is one of the more important things I think that you can do. And it certainly is a lot of fun. Right now, I am doing a 1977 Red Sox replay. And in fact, I got to do a video about it as soon as I'm done recording this. And one of my handicaps is for the replay is I only have 25 cards the entire season, doing this on Stratomatic on the PC. And so can I, as a manager and their skills, get them the game and a half over the hump to get past the New York Yankees to win the division? Certainly wouldn't try it with 76, 78's the next project and, say a novena for Butch Hobson at third. But for me, that's part of the fun. Can I get that game and a half over New York that they didn't get in the real season? Well, here's what I got so far through 79 games. I'm overperforming by 3 games. I've won 3 more than I've lost. Bernie Carbo has been a monster, and Stratomatic Super Advanced 77 at Fenway Park, my God, that's a pinball machine. The team's averaging 6 runs a game. But the fun for me isn't whether or not it's 100% super accurate. It's, can I change history? Can I take that division title that the Red Sox did not get in real life and get them in the playoffs to eventually lose to the Kansas City Royals, or beat the Kansas City Royals and then play the Dodgers or the Phillies in the World Series? For me, that's the whole fun part of it. Can I take the 74 or 75, 76 Islanders, which I'm doing in Stratomatic, and get them further than I did in real life? It's been a challenge so far because they are not the most gifted offensive team on the planet. They're a very good defensive team, but not a great offensive team. And so there's a lot of nail-biting 3-2, 2-1 games. And if they don't get power play chances, they're not really going to win. You really have to push and hope that Billy Smith has a decent day and doesn't get a 7 on that goalie rating card, because that's a goal. So pretty much
that's what I was thinking about. What I think one of the introductions is to sports gaming is what can we do to change history? Can you get, the Patriots that Super Bowl win over the New York Giants twice? And the answer is I would bet that you certainly could the first one. Or, can you get the Carolina Panthers that Super Bowl victory over the Patriots that 1 year? I mean, not everyone's a champion, and I think a lot of people play that want to change history. And so that's pretty much my thought on things is, there's no wrong way to play, but how many of you out there want to go through and go, oh, I could do a better job than that? How do you do it? Obviously you don't want to be unrealistic about it, and given the limitations, do you do what I do and try to do it with just the 25 cards or the roster on any given day like Al does for the 62 Mets? He did it with the 77 Mets and had a lot more success after that. And of course, remember, cards and dice or data files don't have emotion. The 77 Mets were devastated after Tom Seaver was traded to the Cincinnati Reds. Data doesn't care. It's just like Data in Star Trek The Next Generation. He just doesn't care. And so emotions aren't there. Plus, remember, everybody is rated for the end of the season. So you're expected to get around whatever the Pythagorean record is for a team. I don't know what the 77 Mets were off the top of my head, or the 78 Red Sox, or any of the others. But that's what they're supposedly rated to get. But what skills do you use to try to get that extra oomph that they didn't get in real life? Because, again, for me, I think that's 3/4 of the fun, trying to get that. And when things don't necessarily go to plan, how do you go around to do that? I know that if a team takes a bad loss for me, again, this is not necessarily something that's in the streams as far as what you see in the day in and day out stuff, because that's just neutral and I'm not really concerned about who wins. But yeah, when my team loses in a stupid way, or pitching isn't that great, or my goalie isn't there and gives up too many stupid goals, I get angry, and then I have to take a break for a couple days before I move on to the next one, just because I have to remember it's a game, and that's what it's supposed to be. So what do you do? Have you found that you are able to change history? Have you taken a team that maybe was 5 or 6 games out of first place? Maybe a late 70s California Angels team. Again, that Mets team we talked about, maybe the 88 Mets. Can you get past the Dodgers and go to the World Series? If you'd done the hypothetical what if A's and Mets World Series, which is what on paper should have happened in 1988. What success have you found when you just do you play to win the game? What do you do to press to make that happen? What decisions do you make to try to make that happen when the time comes? Sure, there are things that you gotta juggle with usage, and do you change people in batting lineups, or move people up and down lines, or try someone else as a starter in a different position when things don't go right? I would think football would be the easiest one to do that with, because it's only a 16-game season. How do you play around with things to make things better for your team and getting that success? OOTP is the perfect engine for that, because you can play around with so many different variables and such. Do you make trades to make your team better, to try to get over that hump? I remember an early project of Dave Gardner's was putting Reggie on the 77 Red Sox to try to get them over the hump. Well, the thing with the 77 Red Sox is they can't pitch. And that's that for that, So didn't matter how many runs they scored. Once you get past Fergie Jenkins and Louis Tiant, the pickings are pretty gosh darn slim. But basketball, do you make a trade to try to get that team over the hump?
what do you do differently? Because if you're so sure that, if they had, let's just say the Milwaukee Bucks had played at a faster pace or used Alton Lister differently or Ricky Pierce differently, could they have gotten past the Celtics in 85? Any of these what-if situations. What is it that you do on the tabletop or what success have you had on the tabletop or computer that you've taken, let's say, whatever your favorite team is, and actually gotten them to the promised land? Because, again, these games to me are designed that you, just like Herman Edwards say, you play to win the game. So how have you done that in real life? Or on the tabletop? We want to hear your success stories about that. What have you done, to win the game? Maybe you're a boxing fan. What have you? Did you want Norton and Frazier to beat Ali and be the champion? What did you do differently with Ali so he didn't have to go 3 times against Joe Frazier or the Thrilla and Manila and all that? So. Lots and lots there for you to look at. And so, we want to know, before Dave comes back next week, what is it that you do? How do you play to win the game? All right. Ways to get a hold of us, because I forgot to do this at the beginning of the show. You can, the website is www.digitaltodice.com. The email, digitaltodice@yahoo.com. You can send us a text or leave a voicemail. We may or may not read the text or play the voicemail on the air at 978-751-DICE. That's 978-751-3423. And, of course, you can always find the show at Spreaker.com or on YouTube. Dave is back with me next week again. So we're going to talk about the price we pay for games. But now I just want to know, before we go, what do you do to play to win the game? I'm Ron Juckett. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you the next time.